Hey Luis, thanks for coming in. We're going to run over the results of your fitness assessment from last week real quick. So I'll start us from the top. Your vitals and everything checked out pretty good. Blood pressure 120/65, that's completely normal, so that's good. Your heart rate came in at about 72, again completely normal, and your respiratory rate came in at 20 breaths per minute, which is a little lower than typical, but because you're an athlete and you have that background, it's completely normal for athletes to have like a lower respiratory rate than the average person would. So that also checks out. Everything's good to go there. You got any questions on any of those? Nothing?
Nope.
Okay, cool. So we'll move on to the first section. If you remember what we did the in-body on the, and we took your BMI, and the in-body gave us your body fat percentage, and that came in at about 13% flat, which scored you in the athletic category. So that, again, really good. No complaints there. Your BMI came in at 24.8, which is just right on the cusp of average, getting into the obese, but because of your musculature and your size, and again, that athletic background kind of gives you more weight, but it's good weight. So though it ranked you in almost the overweight category, that's not really a problem for you, as we can see with that 13% body fat, which again is in a really good place. So for recommendations, I wrote down pretty much what I said to you. You don't really need to see any change there. If you do want to get in the gym more, you could probably get that body fat percentage down, turn it into a little more muscle, but it's important for you not to try to get your body fat percentage down too much, because too little percentage of body fat can be dangerous for clients, and you do need a little bit. So you're in a good range right now. Could drop it a little bit if you want, but again, no big deal. Everything checks out there as far as body composition as well. So cardio. If you remember, we did the step test on the box, and your score came out to a predicted VO2 max of 38, which is in the fair category. I've been mentioning how you were an athlete. You've been out of the game for a little bit, so that puts you in the fair category, which again isn't bad, but it's not great. I know you told me while you were doing testing that the line of work you wanted to get into was with the police force. They'd probably require you, and it'd be for your benefit and the benefit of others, if you got that up a little bit, and that's just through doing cardio. I mean, you were a previous athlete, I'm sure you know more about that. If you have any questions, again, feel free to ask how you can get that up, what kind of exercises are best. You spent a lot of time running your entire career, so maybe cross-training, getting in a pool or something that it's going to take the stress off your joints for a little bit would be good for you. We'll move on to the next test here. We tested your muscular strength and strength first. So we did a calculated, predicted one rep max for the bench and squat. And your 1 rep max was about 178, or pardon me, your 2 rep was 185. So that gave you a predicted bench press of 0.109 of your body weight. So that category, that puts you in the below average category. Being a soccer athlete specifically, it's pretty typical that we don't see like the highest upper body muscular strength coming out of those athletes, especially in comparison with their body weight. So that's something again to work on. Upper body exercises, anything from benching, doing push-ups, pull-ups, just really spending time in the gym can help you improve that score a lot. And then we did leg press, where per body weight, the ratio of weight you move per body weight is 1.39, which is a little better. That puts you in the average category. Again, as far as the muscular strength, even with the lower body, you would think it would be a lot higher for soccer players, but they're not really having that much power output during what they're doing through their sport and everything. So again, pretty typical. Scored you average, not great, not the best. Definitely room for improvement. Same thing as upper body, just getting in the gym, putting your legs through that work. That's a little bit unfamiliar to you, and I'd be more than happy to like help you with a program, a starters program, to help you build up and get that muscular strength up. And then we did your hand grip strength, and through hand grip we can usually see a correlation of overall strength for the rest of the body. And this lines up because your hand grip strength came in as a score of 103, which again is below average. So that kind of coincides with the rest of what your body was able to produce from a muscular strength perspective. But then getting into the muscular endurance, we also see, and specifically again soccer athletes, a higher degree of muscular endurance just because of the nature of the sport. It's very heavy on the cardiorespiratory and muscular endurance side of things. So your YMCA bench press test, if you remember, we had 80 pounds on the bar, and you went through that test. You scored above average with 25 reps. For the sit-up test, you scored good with 45 reps. Wall sit, good with 90 seconds. And then your hand grip strength for endurance was 33 to 35%, which again is scores in the good category. So no surprise there. If you improve on the muscular strength side of things, that will also translate down into endurance. And the endurance that you already have as far as your musculature goes is going to help you perform better during workouts and help you probably put on some muscular strength faster than the normal person would see. And then we did balance, another stereotype of soccer athletes, great balance. That checked out perfectly for you. We did that Stark balance test and you scored excellent on both legs. And then for the dynamic, you remember when you were kind of hopping side to side, you stumbled on the landing a little bit, but that's pretty typical of everyone. Again, balance was great. Nothing to change. No recommendations there. Any questions so far? Nothing?
No.
All right, cool. So we'll move on to the last section where we did your flexibility assessment. So we did the simple sit reach protocol with the box. And you scored poorly on that with that's mainly lower back, kind of hamstrings flexibility we're looking at with that one. Your trunk and test, we did the simple trunk rotation that also puts you in the poor category. And then your upper body was the back scratch, remember, where you reach back behind your back with both your hands and try to make them touch or even pass them. Some people at least are able to make them touch. Some people can even go past with both their hands. You weren't quite there, a couple inches off, and that put you again in the below average category. One of the biggest things we see in athletes is they work so hard in all these other categories to improve them, and they overlook the flexibility side of things. And not only is flexibility going to be able to keep you safer during exercise, it's also going to help you perform better. If it's easier for you to go down and touch the bar to your chest on a max bench, your max bench is going to be able to be way higher, right? And it's just you're gonna see benefits that really you wouldn't think you'd see. And it can be done very simply. Just a little bit of stretching before and after exercise is a good way to start. I know sometimes it's hard to add a whole stretching routine by itself, and it's not really to do. It's not as beneficial if you just do it by itself when you're cold. It's better like if you do it after a cardio session and your blood rate is up and your heart rate's up and the blood's flowing, and you do it for 10-15 minutes after a workout. Just work on stretching and range of motion, flexibility throughout your whole body. You'll see a lot of benefits there, so that's a good way to improve on that. And that was the last test we had. Do you have any questions? Anything you want to ask? If you want, the biggest thing you seem to struggle with was the flexibility and muscle strength. I could definitely work with you and help you create like a program to at least get you started and everything. But other than that, if you don't have questions, man, I'll let you get on and go on your way.
Thanks.
All right, you good?
Yeah.
All right, thanks for coming in, man.